Hello, I'm John the Fish and I'm going to tell you a bit about Form Reform Developer. Form Reform Developer provides a number of tools related purely by their convenience for developers. They're things that don't add any value to the actual handling of a form. They add value to the person trying to work out what the handling is doing, what it should be doing, why it is or isn't working. What I'm going to show you now is an example contact form. This is from the examples on my support site, and the version here is the multi-step example. And here we have Form Reform Developer's analysis tool shown in the top toolbar. I'll show you that later. First, we're going to put this into edit mode. And here we have our form. We have two submits because this is a two-step form. And what I'm going to do is change the pronoun to a first name. So I'm going to put a deliberate error in this form. So it was pronoun, but I'm going to call it. So we now have two input fields with the same name. And if I edit the next submit button, here we are, have a quick look at the pipeline. Perfectly normal. We detect spam, validate the inputs. On success, we save the data to a session, we put up a message, and we go to the next state, which prepares us for the second step of the form. In the tabs, we have one extra tab called Developer, and I can click this button to analyze the form. And straight away it's telling us I've used the first name twice for a select input and for a text input. So that's marked red because it's likely an error. Sometimes you might have a good reason for doing that, but in this case it's an error. I just put it there. The other thing Form Reform Developer is telling us about is the actual submit pipeline. And it's doing an analysis. It's saying, yes, we have a spam detect handler. Yes, we validated the input fields. We've got an error and success branch. We've done a save, because most forms need to save somewhere. We've got a couple of messages coming out, and then there's a bit about states. If I cancel this again, and I now go to the pipeline, and I will disable the validate input fields, and I'll disable the on success handler. So this would be the same as having a form without validating input fields and without checking for success of validation. We've still got the spam detect there. If I go back to the developer tab now and analyze the form, it's now telling me I've got two disabled fields, I haven't validated the inputs, and I'm missing an on success handler. So it's telling me things about my form which are likely wrong. I'm not going to save this. I'm just going to cancel it for now. I will also cancel the edit. So I've discarded the changes. Now we have a button up here that does the same sort of thing. Except here it's telling me the pipeline information about the submit button that I was editing just now and the other submit button. So we have two submit buttons, two pipelines, and this is what it's telling us about it. I can also have a quick look at the pipeline for each submit button without actually having to put the page into edit mode. So here's our second pipeline. This is the one that would actually complete the form. A similar tool is a form handler for validating the form structure. Now this only relates to the actual fields in the form. It's nothing to do with the pipeline itself, because at this point the pipeline is actually running. First off, it looks at the blocks and what they've named fields in the form, and secondly it looks at the raw post data, so it can actually pick up things like duplicate keys, or in the case of a form, duplicated form field names. Form Reform Developer provides a bunch of other form handlers that can expose data or log data while the form is being processed. This is a free add-on, but it only works if Form Reform is already installed. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.